Hello and welcome to the Bears, Birds, and Brews podcast. Before we begin today's episode, we have a very important message that we'd like to share with all of our listeners.
As everyone knows, everything going on is in regards to the Black Lives Matter movement. We at Bears, Birds, and Brews just wanted to let everyone know that we're proud supporters and we stand by all of our Black brothers and sisters in this movement. We also want it to be known that as we have a media platform and a platform to provide people with information, we are open to using our platform and inviting anyone who would like to use our platform and join us to raise awareness for the Black Lives Movement, spread some knowledge, get listeners to, understand what's going on out there, or share your stories as part of the Black Lives Movement. Being three East Asian men, we all have, faced some sort of discrimination, whether it's being extra checks at the airport, longer security lines, being pulled aside. While that is nowhere near the same level of racism our African or Black brothers and sisters face on a daily basis, we're here to support. Without the civil rights movement in 1965, none of our parents would have been able to immigrate to this country. We wouldn't be here about to record a podcast that we are now. And so because we
wouldn't be able to drink beer because in Pakistan you can't drink beer. So
yeah, exactly. And because, these movements and these supports have kind of gone hand in hand, we are all here on behalf of the Southeast Asian community to put our support and stand behind this movement.
Yeah, to echo that statement, I think I just want to say on behalf of our team that while we have not experienced the same level of racism and discrimination that Black people in this country have experienced really since the very beginning of our country's founding, even a little bit of it, whether we've felt it or not, but the fact that we've seen what we have is enough for all of us to demand change and want to bring about change. And we're using this platform as one way to do that. And we will do everything that we can to continue to support the Black Lives Matter movement because they matter, and we certainly would not be the people that we are without them. So thank you to everybody who's fighting this fight, and our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who is experiencing the struggle. We're with you 150%.
If not more.
Yeah, as much as we can be, without a doubt.
And
with that being said, let's get on to the show, right?
Let's get started. We have some beers. What are we drinking? What are we drinking today?
The traditional
crack.
There you go.
Hello.
Boom. Hello.
Holy crap, that smells good.
Yeah, so I am drinking the Wild Leap Alpha Abstraction Double IPA Volume 12. So it's actually it's funny. The first time I ever had Wild Leap was because of you guys, or because of Univille, because you brought it to the studio one day when we were recording. And what's up?
The cherry tart one, right?
Yeah, the cherry tart one is like a coffee one too. So it's like two of them that were really good beer. And then shortly after that, Wild Leap was voted one of the best new breweries in America. And their Alpha Abstraction series is their flagship series of beers. This is actually only the second Alpha Abstraction I've had. The last one I had was 11, but this one is 12, which makes it like the Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers of the Alpha Abstraction series. So
it's the Chris Chandler, bro.
Or the Chris Chandler. Matter of fact, I'm going to try it while you tell them what you're drinking. Look at this. This looks beautiful. This looks great. I'm going to try this. You tell them what you're drinking.
So I am drinking. We have actually had this brewery often for a while, since quarantine. It's the Brewing Project, and I am drinking Cowabunga. This is a Gose style ale with pineapple, sea salt, tea blend of hibiscus, black currant, apple, blueberry, mango, and orange. I think the fruits are kind of like in reference to the Ninja Turtles, and the cowabunga as well with the cool little turtle over here. And yeah, the brewing project has been awesome.
And I believe partially the brewing project accessibility for us is maybe due to Modern Hops. So
Yeah.
shout out to Eric and Modern Hops because they're awesome people. And
I get this from Jesse from Exhibit Ale. So if you're in downtown Lawrenceville, Exhibit Ale.
Oh yeah. Might have to come see you out there.
Yeah, if you're out there protesting, stop by, get a brew to go, and join back on your protest.
Oh yeah. By the way, okay, this beer is phenomenal. It really is like a Tom Brady, Chris Chandler, Aaron Rodgers quality worthy beer for being number 12. I mean, this is a really, really good beer.
So mine, if you like blueberry, this is very blueberry and mango heavy. This tastes like a blueberry mango tea-ish. It's lightly carbonated. Very, like the aroma is really strong. Like my entire room smells like mangoes right now. It's phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
There's just, so remember how I said the mangoness, really like the mangoness in this tastes kind of like that Mazza drink I've mentioned multiple times, but a thinner version than the Answer. This is really phenomenal.
Nice.
Oh yeah. What's up?
Tell us about yours.
The hibiscus tea also comes out in here a little bit. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. So this is just like a blend of different flavors. This is awesome.
So I really like this beer. It's like smooth. It's drinkable. It's a double IPA, but it honestly, I mean, it's so smooth. Like if you didn't tell me, I mean, this is an 8% ABV. I don't know what yours is, Nabil. I assume it's probably less than that.
I will. Nope. That's the artist. I don't see it on here.
Somewhere.
Let me do some little research.
Well, good deal. And then in the meantime, I'll just say that. So this is Alpha Abstraction Double IPA Volume 12. I'm going to go ahead and get a 6-pack of this. I picked up 1 can from Stout Brothers in Roswell. Excuse me, but if you're looking for a 6-pack beer while you're social distancing or protesting peacefully this weekend, this is a damn good one to get for sure. And on this can, it says, "I want them real thick and juicy, so find that juicy double," to quote the great Sir Mix-a-Lot. With black culture is amazing. I'm not going to stop with that theme throughout this episode, so just get ready. And then Alpha Abstraction Volume 12 is a juicy double dry hop IPA with Belma hops. This is a 12th edition of the series with a varied hop profile in each volume. Doesn't have 6 championship rings, but it's pretty damn good. Or 5, whatever, however many Tom Brady has.
And Cowabunga is a 4.6. So
your sour beers tend to be lower on the ABV, which I don't know if we've ever gotten really an explanation as to why, or maybe we haven't. I was too drunk to remember. But it's sour season as far as I'm concerned.
Well, this is a Gose, so Goses are normally lower, but there are some higher end ABV sours, but nothing is as high as a stout or anything. But yeah, I highly recommend anyone to try this Cowabunga brewing project. This is fantastic.
All right, solid. Shout out to Brewing Project. Shout out to Wild Leap.
Shout out to Khalil Mack because Asif has put up a 5 and a 2, so I don't know what else you could be talking about.
Well, 5 plus 2, that's what I'm talking about. But then Modern Hops, shout out to them too as well.
Let's do it. Moving on, we do
Black Lives Matter.
We do have some sports news. There's some news from the NFL. Both of our teams, the Falcons and the Bears, are gaining cap space due to cuts. Either one of you guys want to start off and tell us how much space they're gaining and why?
Yeah, so the Bears, I think, are gaining around $3 million for the Trey Burton cut. 2.8.
Yeah, 2.8.
For the Trey Burton post-June cut. We had enough tight ends on our roster, I think, so we had to get rid of Trey Burton to make room for the rest of the tight ends.
You sure? I thought we were short a few.
And the Falcons, it goes back to Desmond Trufant when they elected him a post June 1st cut. So
$10.75 million for cutting Trufant.
So nice. Both teams are getting some more cap room right now. I'm not saying this will be a second wave of free agency, but there's a lot of good free agents still out there. A lot of good offensive linemen out there. I remember Larry Wolford was supposed to be picked up right away. It's been like 3 weeks, still hasn't been picked up. Cordy Glenn, that's someone to keep an eye out for. He was the tackle in Cincinnati last year. I think the year before might have been Buffalo. Cordy Glenn, he can play left or right tackle. Former UGA left tackle. He can come in and he can start a tackle for most teams at this point. So he could be an option.
And when you say option, or when you mention these guys, you're talking about for the Bears, correct? Or just
talking about the Bears and the Falcons. I feel like the Bears and the Falcons. Yeah, any team can get them, but Bears can use both in a tackle or a guard. I feel the Falcons can also use depth at the O line. But in terms of O line, every team can use depth. But I meant this specifically for both the Falcons and the Bears.
So, yeah, I just wanted to clarify. And then before you mentioned some other great free agents, but I also want to say that the Rams got $5.5 million back for cutting Todd Gurley, ironically enough. So there you go.
Don't the Rams still owe Todd Gurley money?
They did. I'm sure. Yeah, they do. I mean, I don't know the details on it, but he's got to get back. I think they owe maybe Clay Matthews. They owe somebody else money too.
Yeah, they owe Clay Matthews money as well, who's also a free agent.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, still, Jadeveon Clowney is still sitting out there, which I don't know if that says more about Clowney or I don't know, but he's still out there. Timmy Jernigan, former defensive tackle on Philadelphia, before that on Baltimore, originally supposedly signed a deal with Houston for $3.5 million, but that deal fell through, so he's a free agent as well. And Logan Ryan's still a free agent, so that's another corner. There's a lot of players that are out there right now.
And I'm just double checking, but I also see a name Drake Kirkpatrick out here, who I think is a pretty good player. Marcel Darius is on this list. Eric Reed. And then I believe at one point, and let me double check, but Eli Apple isn't on this list anymore, but when I checked way beginning original free agency, Eli Apple was out there. And for the Falcons, I think more secondary help. Maybe
I think Eli Apple signed with the Panthers.
That's a great man. That's a problematic pickup for the NFC South right there. But he's one of those talents that you didn't expect to see on this list still, right? I mean, he's really good.
Well, Eli Apple, he's still unproven. Remember, he was drafted, I think, maybe 2 years ago. He got cut early because of something that happened. He was a 2016 draft pick. So 4 years ago. And then I think middle of his second year, he got traded to New Orleans. Or was that last year? He got traded to New Orleans because –
Yeah, I believe it was last year. If not, it probably was his third year. The final year of his rookie deal had to be because he got cut by New Orleans and then didn't get picked up. And now he's playing with Carolina. That's the only thing that makes sense. And then Everson Griffin is on this list too. So, Nabil, like you said, a lot of great free agents out there. And at least the Bears and the Falcons have some money to play with, which I think is awesome. It's definitely a luxury to have right now when you can bring in a great veteran player, this late in the game. And maybe Jadeveon Clowney or Griffin go into a situation like Khalil Mack did a couple years ago, where it's just midnight oil hour, make a trade, and don't even get this guy into camp or nothing, but just let him run out there and dominate.
And if I wake up a week before the NFL season starts and the Bears have signed Jadeveon Clowney, that would be crazy.
I mean, you talk about a scary defense already. To add a guy like that, or Griffin from Minnesota, who knows the Bears probably better than Clowney does. Watch out. And then Cam Newton is still out there. And I want to see what he can do, frankly. I just want to see what he can do.
I think he'll be on a team at some point this year.
Oh, he should be.
It's just going to be the thing is, I don't think anyone's going to sign him until they can see, his health.
Yeah. Or they need to, right? Hopefully nobody goes down and gets seriously hurt. But if, let's say, your starting quarterback somewhere, mid-tier starting quarterback goes down early in the season, I mean, you better pick up Cam Newton and get him on the phone ASAP.
Yeah. The other thing, so Devontae Freeman is talking with Tampa. Bruce Arians did actually say that right now they don't have that much cap room, and Freeman wants a lot more money. So that's just a signing that, I'm going to sprinkle out there, for the future, because, I don't really like Tampa's running situation right now. I know they have Ronald Jones, I believe, but he's okay. But I think Devontae Freeman would be a perfect fit. One, just because he catches the ball out of the backfield, and that's exactly what Tom Brady needs. And, the wide receivers and the tight ends that he already has, he doesn't need that much more outside of a running back who can just be the safety net after his safety net of Gronk and Cameron Brate.
Yeah, I mean, one, kind of like to echo that, but I actually anticipated Devontae Freeman going to Tampa pretty much like right away. Like as soon as he got cut and they signed Tom Brady, I had a feeling that Devontae Freeman in Tampa would actually be a great fit. A couple reasons. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He is familiar with the territory, just like the players on that team, the defenses and the schemes that they run. He also, they don't have Dirk Cutter anymore, but he can definitely adjust to whatever offense they're running now. Bruce Arians is a great guy. Tom Brady is, Devontae Freeman is a star caliber player when he's healthy. So if he can stay healthy, I think the ironic part is he says that he's able to sit out for the season because he has money, yet he's asking for a lot of money. So like something about that doesn't, I get it from a business perspective, but I also think for the right opportunity, such as to play with Tom Brady and compete for a championship, you might want to take less money. And then lastly, I'll just add that he went to Florida State. So to go back to Florida, I think is a great fit. Is ironic because only football can do this, or only sports can do this, where we had Warrick Dunn come to Atlanta from Tampa for the second half of his career and become a legend and an icon here and like have a really great second half of his career. And now we might be seeing the same exact thing happening with Devontae Freeman, where he goes from Atlanta to Tampa for the second half of his career. And I guess hopefully he plays well,
Which would suck for you guys, but yeah, hopefully.
Right, yeah. It's the catch 22 or catch 24 or throw 12, whatever. By the way, I'm just going to go ahead and jump the gun. Speaking of Tampa Bay, there's no WWE champion on the Buccaneers anymore, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Rob Gronkowski is no longer the WWE 24/7 champion as of last week. He lost to R-Truth, who's black and amazing. R-Truth is like a great gimmick, and I'll send you guys some stuff offline, and then we can post some stuff on social media at Bears, Birds, and Brews later. But Rob Gronkowski no longer the 24/7 champion.
I was really hoping you would cut a touchdown and then someone ran on the field and just.
Deion Jones. I was so ready for Deion Jones to take that belt from him, man. The thing is, I just gotta say, Rob Gronkowski's girlfriend is one of my top celebrity crushes. Just gotta put that out there.
That could have gone really weird, but he really he matured himself about that. I like
it.
Before he can retract it. And that transition, there's a couple of people out there that are making statements that they wish they could have retracted.
I like that transition. Wow, that was a good one.
That was good.
I've been practicing. And so,
are you seeing other podcasters?
I think it's just a regular conversation with Asif.
Yeah, that's
how would I transition this?
You got to prepare for anything. And so, three well-known NFL players that have kind of come out and made statements that go against supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. First and foremost, the most out there is Drew Brees, who made a statement saying he doesn't support people kneeling for the national anthem. He feels like it's a disrespect to the flag. He has gone and retracted or said he apologizes for the statement and is aware. Then there's Fangio, who made a statement stating that he doesn't see racism in the NFL.
He hasn't experienced it or something like that.
So what Fangio was saying, because I heard his comments, he was saying that he hasn't seen it in the locker room, but again, he's seeing it through his eyes. He doesn't really understand what other people see. That was the argument. Never being in the NFL locker room, I can't speak to that, but they were saying that, hey, you're seeing this through your eyes. You don't know what the other person sees.
Which is a problem, right? I mean, that's like overall, that's
In
kind of
all
been a big
three-
issue, right? Yeah.
3 instances, yeah, that is the larger.
Except for Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm's instance was just, that was just dumb.
Stupid.
Yeah. I mean, and so I don't know, where do we want to go with this? Because those are the 3 names that we want to at least mention.
Let's go with the least. Let's not the least, but let's bucket the least. Jake Fromm, like the youngest player, just came into the league, late round draft pick. He's not a Hall of Fame player. He's not an NFL coach. Let's start with Fromm.
Okay.
What Fromm said was, I believe, on the text message that were leaked, that we should make these gun silencers so expensive that only the elite white could afford them.
Yep.
I believe that's what he said.
Yep.
In reference to like some guns that some silencers that someone was protesting. I think it was maybe 2 years ago. To that, I mean, like, that's just, he's since retracted it. The only thing I'm thinking of right now with this was right when Josh Allen, the current quarterback of the Bills, was drafted, there were certain tweets that were found that were racial tweets. And then, his teammates his eventual teammates were like, hey, I need to talk to him before I can say anything about it. So I assume the Bills are going to go the same way about it, saying, hey, before I comment on, I haven't even met Jake Fromm yet. We're all on Zoom conferences. I don't know the guy. So I assume most of the players are going to go like that. But, especially with everything going on with the protest, there may be some players who are more vocal about how they go about it. Also, Josh Allen was the number 7 pick in the draft. Jake Fromm was 6th round pick.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bills, of what's going on in the light of everything, they may just cut him. It may not be worth, Jake Fromm, whatever backlash can come from it. May not be worth dealing with it.
Sorry to cut you. Are you done the vote? Or you want to?
I would just say ultimately, I think we're not going to see what's going to happen with this until training camp opens up. Yeah, that's all. That's the last thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, now that you have anything you want to add to that, or are you good?
No, I think I just saw that they were looking into maybe cutting him, but
I heard the rumor out there is that he's probably going to get cut because of this, which is unfortunate. And I mean, he issued an apology, like the other 2 gentlemen issued an apology, Vic Fangio and Drew Brees. We'll talk about that in a second. As far as Fromm's comments, I mean, it's unfortunate. It really is when you have somebody who, the great thing about sports, and I think part of the reason that we love it, is it brings people together, right? Like, think about how many people that you've seen at stadiums, at bars, wherever, wearing jerseys of your team, and you're like, yo, that's my guy. Like, either the person whose jersey they're wearing, or just the person themselves, or it could be a woman, it could be whoever. Sports bring people together, and to see the division of, hey, black versus white, or whatever, racism, discrimination, to exist not only in sports but with the athletes themselves. Who are like, you're literally going to war. You talk about blood, sweat, and tears. You are sharing blood, sweat, and tears in battlegrounds and nights, and making memories, and failing and learning and winning and losing, at least, at all levels, but at college especially, when you're that young. So to hear stuff like that from a guy that I think at least we all looked up to as, hey, that's our quarterback, quote unquote, to some degree. It's unfortunate, and hopefully he's learned his lesson. I think if there's anybody out there in the past who's made comments like that, now is the time to just realize that you were in the wrong, and it's not okay. And it's okay to say that, hey, I messed up. Nobody will ever fault you for saying I messed up. and having accountability for your actions. The thing is if you know that you have demons in your closet, when we see time, it's better to just get them out there before anybody else can. Kind of like in 8 Mile, where Eminem just rags on the guy about himself in the final rap battle and wins, because what's the guy going to say now? Because Eminem has aired his own dirty laundry out there and used it provocatively or whatever to better himself. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, maybe Jake Fromm will get another chance. I mean,
and so
last bit Cam Newton now, because they need a backup.
I mean, last bit on Jake Fromm. I don't think Cam Newton will take a backup role on Buffalo.
No, I just,
last thing on Jake Fromm, like arguably he may have said the worst thing of the three, calling himself the elite white.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know, what the level of judging this is.
Well, it's all bad, but you're not wrong. I mean, that's a pretty bad. I mean, that's not a great statement to make. And again, I mean, it sucks that he did it, but nobody's gonna fault you for saying, "Hey, I made a mistake." And the only reason they can not judge you for that is the only way is if you truly show improvement with your actions and your intentions and your thoughts and your words. So
and ultimately, this conversation was going to come back to the Kaepernick point, which I'm going to go ahead and bridge right now. Like, he may still be in the league this year for saying stuff like this, while Kaepernick didn't say a word. All he did was take a knee.
Right.
And that kind of bridges over to, the Drew Brees conversation where Brees is saying, what was he saying, that I wouldn't respect? Is that what he said? Or?
Well, yeah, I mean, he said that they asked him after all the George Floyd protests, rest in peace, George Floyd and everybody else that we've lost ever. But after all that, like, do you understand people kneeling for the flag and do you support that? And he still said, I do not agree with anybody disrespecting our flag, which, I mean, there's no, hey, Jake Fromm's statement was worse. I mean, that's just bad because, Drew Brees should know better. At least Jake Fromm is a college student. Okay, when we're young, we all make mistakes. We've all said stupid shit, done stupid shit, Well,
one was also a private text message from one person to another. Doesn't make it right. While the other was speaking on a very public
community
platform.
And a team and as the leader. And yeah, I mean,
he was on Yahoo Finance, so that's a very public platform.
Yeah.
He knew where this was going.
Drew Brees' statement was really upsetting. I mean, like, I've always said I don't like the guy as a competitor or because he's a quarterback of the Saints. I can't like him, right? I mean, the quarterback of my arch rival, and he's really damn good, and he beats us all the time. So, I have a lot of animosity toward him. But I've always thought that he at least is a world-class guy in terms of he's a father and a husband, and he did take on the identity of New Orleans after Katrina and help with all that and bring them a lot of great joy. So I respect him. But he still
might be a nice. I mean, he did fund a lot of COVID COVID relief. Like, I think 2 months ago, he put maybe $1 million towards COVID. I do believe he genuinely does love New Orleans. He does. I don't think he is.
Well, I don't think that there's any question that he's happy to play for New Orleans and be a Saint and will be remembered as the Saints quarterback who won them a Super Bowl. I don't think there's anything bad about that.
He just doesn't see this correctly, and I think that's part of the problem, right? Because he's not understanding that it's not about a flag. And it's not about a flag.
Sorry, and to kind of flip this on its head is a lot of it is about white privilege, or the privilege that people who don't experience racism, that's coming to light. And again, it's there's a fine line between not being aware of what's going on and then being aware of it and still being an asshole about it, frankly, right? And so the point that I want to make is that with Drew Brees, I mean, it's come on, man. I mean, I don't see how you can be where
and
you are.
so, and this is just a thing, and it's not just Drew Brees; it's the NFL altogether. I think, like, because remember, so Tim Tebow, for example, he always took a knee and he did the
Mhm.
prayer,
Right.
and no one ever saw anything wrong with that,
I
right?
actually wanted to tweet that.
But
Tebow took a knee, nobody cared. And
yeah,
Kaepernick takes a knee and everybody's upset.
but I remember there was one player on, I think the Vikings. He caught a pick six, and he touchdown, and he did a prayer like a Muslim prayer,
Yeah,
and he got flagged for that because the ref didn't know what he was doing, and he thought he was taunting him.
It
Well,
was the
just
Chiefs, actually. It was a
it's
pick six
Chiefs.
on Monday Night Football, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the player was Abdullah, so I know he used to be a Viking, but yeah, Chiefs then. But yeah, so the NFL, they don't have the knowledge of what he was doing, right?
Which
They
is
just
the
don't know.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is the problem. I mean, and it's okay if you don't know, but once you don't know and you make the mistake, that's when you have to
Learn from it.
go about correcting it.
Yeah.
Right, right. And sorry, the thing that I was going to say about Drew Brees with that last statement, I kind of lost my thought, but it is in a weird way to flip it around and say it's like we kind of are privileged, at least the three of us and maybe some of our listeners as minorities, or at least all of our, everybody who's listening, we are privileged in a way not to have experienced the discrimination because it sucks and it's terrible. But what do people say in the sense of like, your failures make your successes taste greater, right? Your failures make your successes greater. The fact that it's not privilege is not the right word, so I apologize for saying that, but the fact that we are able to experience these things and then bring about the change that we need to see and bring about the awareness that not only that we have to the rest of the world, so to people like the NFL referees and to Drew Brees and stuff like that, who'd be like, hey man, you don't know that this is what life is like for us, but I do. So let me show you my struggle and hopefully you can empathize with me. You don't have to like me as a person, my race or whatever. I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have. You should at least respect me and respect my struggle. That at the end of the day, I'm just asking for respect. And Drew Brees, so like we kind of have at least the opportunity to know what we've experienced and to see what other people, our black brothers and sisters, like now they're said at the beginning, have experienced and to bring about that change. Like that's an opportunity for us. It's a privilege and a humbling opportunity for us to be able to do that. Unfortunately, Drew Brees doesn't have that. I don't know how you guys felt about his apology. I still don't know if he gets it 100%. I think the photo that he chose to post with it on Instagram with the black and the white holding hands shows me that he still has no idea. How do you, as a franchise Hall of Fame quarterback, not have a picture of you standing next to your brothers on the field and showing support for them? Like, you know what I mean? And I applaud Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara for speaking out and Malcolm Jenkins for speaking out publicly against their quarterback because he is in the wrong. And part of the issue, last thing I'll say, part of the issue is like the fact that this Black Lives Matter movement is happening and they turn to a white guy to get his perspective on it versus going to Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Colin Kaepernick, who could be on the call. And maybe something of this had to do with Drew Brees originally, but that's kind of the point. It's like how are we going to talk to a white guy about the Black Lives Matter movement? I mean, that's it. He was not set up to succeed in that situation, period.
I mean, right now the face of the NFL is Patrick Mahomes. He is
right.
the MVP.
Right. And the face of the movement is Kaepernick, one of them. Yeah. Right.
I mean, you got Deshaun Watson. That's be a perfect person to talk to. But
so I think hopefully at least the three of us can have, and our listeners, whoever's listening still now, can gain this knowledge that I like analogies, and so I'll say like the analogy is like when you have a data set, the data set is only as good as the data you put in it. So if we're trying to put together an email list and I only have your email, Nabil, and your email now there, but I don't have your birthday, then I can't send you a special birthday offer, hey, come in to my store and get a free dessert, right? Because I don't have the data to do that, to build that fan engagement. So like, again, turning to a white guy to speak on the Black Lives Matter movement is the problem epitomized. It's a shell of the problem. So we just need to be more conscious and do better, and that's how we'll get over it. And Vic Fangio, hey man, again, they turned to him when Von Miller, who's one of the best players in the NFL, is on the team. Talk to Von Miller.
Well,
Vic Fangio should say, hey, call my star player and talk to him. Don't talk to me.
well, just to defend why they talked to him, it was during NFL media session, and they were talking to him about, training camp coming up and everything. And then later on, they talked about the current social environment.
Yeah.
So he wasn't reached out specifically to talk about the social environment. It was just a media session, and then there was, talking about the current environment.
Yeah. And again, it's only as good as the data you put into it, right? So the PR teams could have briefed these guys, but they made an apology. All three of them did. And hopefully everybody is now learning to get better as a result of this and recognize what's really at play here.
I think it'll also be interesting to see the fallout for both a head coach and the star quarterback to make statements that antagonize or upset the black members of the team, see how that locker room dynamic then plays out during the season for both of these individuals. I think that's also that story that we'll have to just wait and see on how all of this plays out. And, for both of them, if they have any shot of, making the season a success, they have to fix this, they have to rectify it, and they have to start showing actions that they've learned their lessons and made a difference. And so with that being closed up, we do have our first set of sports returning not at the end of next month.
Mainstream sports, anyway.
Interior sports NBA is back.
Well, but before we get to the positive, let's go with the negative. MLB did reject the players' counteroffer of 114 games. I think we're maybe 2 weeks before MLB is just not going to happen. They were originally looking for a July 4th start date. That's less than a month.
That's exactly a month, actually. But
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Less than a month away. And you're going to have to do a whole new spring training, and you're going to have to push the season out. And at a certain point, you're going to have to push the season out so further that it's going to impact next year's season. So I honestly think we're in a 2-week window. If we don't have an agreement in 2 weeks, no baseball season. But by that point, we will have the start of what Nader was talking about.
The NBA.
Well, and sorry, because you brought up baseball, I know Nader had one thing that he wanted to mention about Ronald Acuna, and so we'll go into that. But I just want to ask you, like yes or no question, do you even care about baseball at this point in the bill?
So honestly, the only reason I recently been caring about baseball during this time of the year is because that's all I got. But at this point, you're going to give me basketball, hockey, soccer,
football training camp, hopefully.
Football training camp. I mean, at this point, if I can only watch one sport and it's going to be a regular season Cubs game during a shortened season, a playoff basketball game, or a potential Blackhawks playoff game, I think the Cubs game is coming in last, to be honest.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, if you know the bill, that's a big statement, actually.
I mean, I'm wearing a Cub shirt.
Right. Shout out to everybody listening or watching on YouTube. So we'll see. I mean, so I don't want to get too much into it because I think we're not doing great on time, but I'll just say that the Dodgers lit their stadium lights for 8 minutes and 46 seconds yesterday in honor of George Floyd, or as a tribute to him, because of everything that happened to him. So shout out to the Dodgers for, even though baseball is not relevant, they had a moment of silence with their stadium lights on for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in honor of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. So, I mean, there are people out there who get it, and we need more of those voices and actions to be heard and seen.
Yeah. And then I do have something with Acuna, but I'll save it for the end. We'll end on a really, really nice note.
Cool.
So we can move on to the NBA is back. Are coming with a unique playoff structure and end of season plan before. Let's just go over it. So they're coming back with 22 teams from both conferences together combined. I think each team plays a total of 8 regular season games before we start off the playoffs.
Yeah, there's going to be 13 teams from the West, 9 from the East. There's going to be an 8-team like shortened regular season for seeding and.
I also think that's a great way to get acclimated to just
and essentially a training camp, because you don't want to go from 0 to 60. So like the players are going to be getting more acclimated.
You gotta shake some rust off.
Some kind of cool stuff that they're trying to do, because so this is going to take place in Disney World, but there's not really a home court advantage. So they're trying to find ways to give certain, like the higher seed to home court advantage. So, one thing that's kind of fun, what they're doing is they may give the higher seeds first dibs on like which hotel you stay at. So you get to pick, I'm going to stay at this hotel. And then, the worst team may have to stay at a Motel 6 down the road, or who knows.
That's crazy. That's awesome, though.
They may also give the higher seed an extra foul. So instead of fouling out with 6, you can, give Giannis 7 fouls a game.
I don't know if I agree with that. Just hot take, rapid fire. I don't know if I agree with that.
Another one that they're talking about was they would give the higher seed the ball at the start of every quarter. So if you win the tip, you would start every quarter with the ball instead of tip, then switch. But they're just trying to find ways, just because there isn't a home court advantage, to give the higher seeds some advantage, because that is like a regular part of basketball. I mean, if you're the higher seed, you have
what we've
court.
seen with all sports, right? Even football, Atlanta United, you have 70,000 people in the stadium. That crowd noise and that energy makes a difference, right? Regardless of what sport you're playing in. So,
and this is all going to be with no crowds and everything as well.
Right. So. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's where the home court advantage comes in normally, is with the crowd. Now you take that out. What do you do? So, but I think actually I like the hotel thing. I think that's kind of funny. It makes it very like casual, and it makes it very realistic. Like the NBA players were not immune to the coronavirus, right? Like they felt it too. So to humanize that element of it, I think is good. I like the idea of giving them the tip. I like the idea of giving them the tip at the start of every quarter. If
you
not
are a fan of the tip.
Just the tip, for quarters 2, 3, 4. But the first opening tip can be whatever. I don't like the idea of the foul. I was actually thinking 2 things. One, for a home court advantage in the NBA in this weird format is like, I think if you bring like the crowd, the home team DJ in, or you get them to submit like a play, because there's no crowd noise. Yeah. I think basketball is so synonymous with like music and maybe rap music. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but like to have, like, for example, the Hawks have the organ guy, right? So if we could get that music playing at a pivotal moment in the Hawks game, if the Hawks are in it, I think that is a way to do home court advantage, right? Is to have some of those themes remain intact. And then
I think talking that real quick, they are trying to limit people coming in, even to like very limited reporters. So I think the DJ would not be there.
But I think you can submit like a playlist. You can totally submit like a playlist for like a PA announcer or whatever, and it's not going to just play without any. Yeah. Mic them up, but you need to create some sort of home court advantage. So I think a playlist to play overhead would be great. And then lastly, I would say like fan art, like commission fan art from some prominent artists in your local community, and have like wooden planks put up in the stands. So like, if I'm shooting a free throw and I'm the Lakers, I have like a Kobe mural behind the basket, right?
Got it.
What's up?
I got a great idea. Sex dolls.
Sex dolls.
Yeah,
I think
just like the KBO.
Like the KBO.
Sex dolls is like a universal advantage. Like everybody wins with those. I don't know if that's like one team or the other.
Sex dolls and jerseys.
With jerseys. There you go. Home team jerseys.
So July 31st, though, NBA is back, right?
July 31st, tentative date for NBA to be back. They did push the lottery, and draft. Lottery will be August 25th, and the draft will be October 15th, with free agency starting on the 18th, and next year tentatively starting December 1st, which tentatively has killed NAB Saves Hockey, because once the NBA moves to December, they'll stay there forever, and hockey won't move.
I just want to say real fast, I think they should come back on December 25th. I don't think that
I
they
agree
should.
with Christmas. I
think Christmas or Christmas Eve, whatever evening is fine too. Christmas, like that week of Christmas, so 23rd, 24th, 25th should be the NBA's next opening day. I just think it makes the most sense. I think it's only fair to the players because they're only getting like 6 weeks off if you end it in October, and I don't think that that's enough. And then to that, I just want to tie into NASCAR and say that NASCAR actually has the shortest off season of any sport because they end in November and then they start again in February. So it's kind of what you're seeing with the NBA's modified format. However, they're not even getting 2 months. Like NASCAR, you get 2 months at least in the off season. So I would like to see October 13th, Game 7, NBA Finals, and then December 25th, the first game of the new regular season. Whatever. Yeah.
I mean, Christmas, like I still don't think basketball starts till Christmas in general. So why not just start it that way? So,
but it could also be to make up some lost income.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Makes sense.
So to give some news to Bulls fans, we did not make the 22-team playoffs, but we did have maybe the biggest win the Bulls have had in a while. We have a new play-by-play announcer, and that is Chicago's very own Adam Amin. And he is one of the best announcers in sports right now. I mean, you can look at his calls in the NCAA women's tournament. He does football. He does Bears preseason, which he's still going to be doing as the Bulls play-by-play announcer. I'm really excited that Adam Amin is the Bulls play-by-play announcer, not only because he's good at his job, but also that's similar to a Nabil from ESPN, Adam Amin, formerly ESPN. Now this, I mean, that's someone that looks like me, similar background. I mean, Adam Amin literally has the same background as us. He's from Chicago. He came from Pakistan. I mean, look at his story. Great story.
We're big fans. He's tweeted at us at Bears versus Brews. He's a wrestling fan too.
Yep.
So.
I mean, and I do think that the Bulls are making positive movements. Getting AK as our as the leader of the team, and now getting maybe one of the best announcers in the league in sports right now. It's positive movements that the Bulls need, especially after how bad we have been socially and everything for the past 5 years. Ever since Derrick Rose got hurt, everything has just been a fireball, and now it's kind of like rising from that.
By the way, speaking of the Bulls, I just want to say Dennis Rodman called the president out on Twitter today and said, we got to do better for minorities. Like, if Dennis Rodman is telling you fucked up, you fucked up. I mean, I'm just going to – and there's no disrespect to anybody else, but Dennis Rodman himself said we got to do better. And this is the guy who left in the middle of a championship run to go be on WCW Nitro. So –
true story.
That's it. Something ain't right. That's that. And now, can I say the other thing? Or should I just leave it?
Someone say it.
Yeah. Yo, J.R. Smith was being ass over the weekend. I just got to let y'all know there's some protest. Protesting and rioting are two different – or protesting and looting and vandalism are like separate things. And somebody committed an act of unnecessary vandalism and rioting and protesting and looting on J.R. Smith's property of his car or his –
and he wasn't having it.
I think, yeah, and he wasn't having it. And J.R. Smith not only admitted to beating some kid's ass in the middle of the street, but there's a video to go along with it.
Yeah.
He said, yo, this kid broke my window and I beat his ass. And he, really beat this kid. It was it's the best thing I've seen all week until I watch this podcast on YouTube tomorrow. Yeah. So just shout out. He ain't in the playoffs. So, he got, good for him, I guess.
Small small victories, I guess.
Small victories, yeah.
The only other thing with the NBA playoffs that I think is really, really interesting is they've prevented teams from tanking. So the 8 teams that are not making it to that are not part of the 22 that are making it, they are guaranteed the first 8 picks, or they won't get more lottery options. You can't fall lower than the teams that aren't there.
Yeah, let's go. So the Hawks are about to get a top 10 pick next year. The Bulls are probably going to get a top 10 pick next year. I'm totally with that. Even though the draft is weak and really like Anthony Edwards is like, but who knows? I mean,
you got LaMelo Ball, you got Anthony Edwards. I mean, so the thing is, we didn't have the NCAA tournament, so we don't even know who are the players to keep an eye out for.
Who are like literally the top 10 players to like watch for, essentially.
Yeah.
But I mean, the teams will do their work, and then because you mentioned the Hawks, my Hawks shirt, just on behalf of that, I just got to make a statement, which is the Hawks are going to do probably some sort of mini camp between now and the start of next season, mandated by the NBA is kind of what the rumor is. So, something to be on the lookout for. And then because we're mentioning NBA, Trae Young, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, in addition to Deshaun Watson, who Bill mentioned, were all out protesting over the weekend. So shout out to them for doing that. And Jaylen Brown, who actually
drove down from Boston.
Yeah.
Is it Jaylen Brown?
He's from here. He grew up like literally like 10, 15 minutes down the road from me, if that.
Nice. And then just something cool and positive to close out our episode. If you haven't seen it, there's a video online that was trending a while back of a little kid and his father. His father was throwing pitches, and the kid was knocking little hits. And the kid hit his first ever home run in front of his father. They celebrated together. He ran the lap around. This was on Asif's Facebook page. If you follow Asif on Facebook, it's one of the best things you've shared in a while. Everything else is usually. I'm just kidding.
It's normally garbage.
You shared a podcast like twice, bro. Come on.
He was wearing an Acuna jersey. Acuna saw the video, sent the kid a pair of autographed cleats. Really nice. Thank you for doing that. That's really dope. Other thing, I mean, if you're listening and if you're following the podcast, we'd love to have you on and learn about your experience and hear your story and share it with everyone. And last things last, quick reminder from everyone here at Bears, Birds, and Brews, are proud supporters of the Black Lives Matter movement. Anyone who would like to use our platform and come on our show to raise awareness, get attention, share ideas or thoughts on the movement, please feel free to reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram at Bears, Birds, and Brews. And with that, hope everyone has a good night and stay safe.
Black Lives Matter. Stay safe. Thank you all.
Take care.